Final Battle 611.com and get your free copy today. And be sure and watch Newsmax today.
970 WDAY AM and 93.1 FM, Fargo-Moorhead.
And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki alongside our wonderful, talented Ag Director Bridgette Readel and Meteorologist Super Stud Justin Storm.
What did I call him yesterday? Something about the red-headed, speedy redhead? Was that it? For his driving down the interstate?
That's what it was.
Okay. Just got a couple of names for you. We don't want to miss out on them.
Boy, it is a fog fest out there, at least here in the FM area.
So good news driving in, though. At least the roads were clear today, because that's the part that is when you're going to combine that fog and then we're also going to add ice on top of it. That would be horrific.
Yeah, that would not be good. And we've got another storm system passing to our south. I wouldn't even call it a storm, a little upper-level wave passing to our south. That seems to be the trend this month, and that's going to continue. There's going to be, I'm sure you've read in the news, that California is getting inundated with storm after storm after storm, and a lot of times those storms will dig into the Rockies and then shoot up northeastward towards our area, but these things are going straight over the Rockies and just losing a lot of their punch, or they're taking the total southern route, so it's one or the other, and we're lucking out here.
Do we ever see this on a regular rotational basis? And by that I mean, I remember as kids watching California, all the rain, the landslides. And I remember seeing it when I was in college. Is there some sort of an annual pattern to this situation? Every so many years, California tries to fall in the ocean?
Well, this is more typical of an El Nino pattern than a La Nina pattern. Now, we will go back to a more typical La Nina pattern where we build that ridge off the west coast, and then we get the cold air dumping into our area. But this is very indicative of more of an El Nino pattern. Okay. That's usually when they get their flooding. Sure. But they need the moisture. The good news out of all this is their snowpack is over 200% of normal. Well, and we just started winter, so
that's really awesome for them, especially the Western U.S., because we've talked multiple times. We're talking 65% of the United States in total is in some sort of a drought situation. That's not going to flow this direction, where we know that the Missouri, all the tributary rivers to the Mississippi are low, including the Missouri. Nonetheless, barge traffic is improving. There has been a little bit of an uptick in the river levels in the Mississippi. So if you think about it, going from like a 6-lane highway down to about 2, they might have gained another lane. Maybe we're back to 3 lanes on the Mississippi.
And with these storms taking the southern route too, that'll help the Mississippi as well.
That'd be all right.
That will help a lot. But other than that, we're looking at fog tonight, and it should improve tomorrow as winds shift to the northwest by afternoon. Might see a few flurries, light snow in the area tonight and early tomorrow, but a trace to 1/10 of an inch or so. So we're not looking at a big deal there. And then we're looking at cold weather, but sunshine returns for the end of the week. And then, Justin, why don't you tell them what surprise we have coming up for the weekend?
I don't like this.
Some nice, pleasant temperatures.
Oh, okay. Now I'm on board.
It's a good surprise.
The way you two were starting, I was a little frightened by what you were going to tell me.
Yeah. How does mid upper 20s to low 30s sound?
Like I'm going to be snowshoeing a lot?
I got a feeling a lot of people are going to be out there chiseling the driveways, getting all the snowpack off of them.
Shout out to Cass County Highway Department. I'd like to talk to you about number 4 and number 26, please.
Oh, yeah. So there's some nice temperatures on the way. We'll dive a little deeper into the forecast. I don't believe we have a guest on today, but we got a bunch of ag topics we're going to try and get to. That's including a little bit about a biopesticide. Not exactly sure what that is. Bridgette, you're going to let us know if it's anything like controlling the sex with bugs.
But you got to know that we do have a guest today. We do.
Oh, we do.
That is Allie Anderson. She is an equine massage therapist. Allie's actually down in the southern U.S., and we're going to visit with her about that. It's like spa day for horses.
Gotta love that.
I think this will be sort of fun, but you're right. We're also going to talk about biopesticides, similar to that pheromone that you brought up that we've discussed, where scientists can interfere with pheromones on some pests and keep them from reproducing and then influencing our cropping system. So we're going to do that and so much more. We will be back before too long here on Weather and Ag in Focus.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. California seeing no relief from drenching rains as the latest in a string of storms continues to swamp roads and batter the coast with high surf and turning rivers and creeks into gushing flood zones. ABC's Matt Rivers has the latest from Santa Cruz County.
Santa Barbara County has already seen more than 13 inches of rain in the last 2 days. The entire town of Montecito was placed under evacuation orders Monday. Massive rock slides causing road closures over in Fresno. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, around 90% of Californians are under flood watches or warnings.
There's a new global climate change report out, and it suggests that global warming has cost the U.S. billions in weather-related disasters.
The European Union's climate change report says last year was the 5th warmest on record and that the planet has gotten warmer every year for the past 8. The report says while CO2 and methane pollution is up, it did not reach last year's record. The U.S. National Weather Service reporting that 2022 was the 3rd costliest natural disaster year and that there were $18 billion disasters in the last 12 months.
ABC's Andy Field. President Biden's lawyers revealing that documents marked classified were found in office space that he used as a private citizen. The Justice Department is investigating, as many compare this with the discovery at Mar-a-Lago last year. Here's ABC's Catherine Falders in Washington.
Nobody's arguing that having classified documents in a place that is not secure isn't a great thing. They should be in a secure place. There's still a lot of questions surrounding this, but just in terms of comparing the two, Trump was refusing to give these documents back. It appears that once Biden found them, once his lawyers found them, they immediately notified proper channels, and then the next day they were back in the possession of the government.
Today, President Biden is in Mexico City meeting with the Mexican president and the Canadian Prime Minister about immigration, drug trafficking, and security. This is ABC News.
Like bones, your teeth lose density and become weaker over time, which can lead to tooth decay. And that can make your visit to the dentist feel like this. But if you want your dental visit to feel like this, try Crest Densify. Crest Densify actively rebuilds tooth density to extend the life of teeth by remineralizing enamel. Densify from Crest, the #1 toothpaste brand in America. Smile, Crest has you covered.
God, I'm so stressed. It's a brand new year and our business is busier than ever.
Uma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Uma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 35 features.
Uma?
Yep. Switching to Uma is a cinch. Starts at $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Uma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Uma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Uma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
Tyler's Tree Service, we create different types of wood products such as live edge slabs, beams, posts, and dimensional lumber. We also custom mill wood for your creativity. To learn more, go to tylerscut.com. At Tyler's Tree Service, there is no stick left behind.
Your business has storage, but not nearly enough. You need Dakota Storage Products. They'll utilize the space you already have. They're the experts in loading docks, pallet racks, cabinets, bins, and warehouse ladders, even industrial shelving for bankers' boxes and your year-end files. They've helped businesses and farmers in the region make storage space smart by helping your storage space fit your needs. Go to DakotaStorageProducts.com. Dakota Storage Products, helping you store stuff smart.
Tyler's Tree Service, we create different types of wood products such as live edge slabs, beams, posts, and dimensional lumber. We also custom mill wood for your creativity. To learn more, go to tylerscut.com. At Tyler's Tree Service, there is no stick left behind.
Thanks for rejoining us this afternoon. It's 1:11 right now, 24 degrees outside. I'm Meteorologist Justin Storm with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and Ag Director Bridgette Readel. And if you would like to join in on our conversation, ask us a question, or just say a comment, give us a phone call, 701-293-9000, or you can always reach us via email during or after the show at weather@flagfamily.com and ag@flagfamily.com. Now, before we take a look at that forecast, Bridgette, why don't we kind of touch on one of these ag topics? What's going on with this biopesticide? What is that?
That's really got your attention today, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Okay. So biology, biologicals. Normally when I talk about pesticides, we talk about synthetic products, something that we are producing in a factory that we are bringing forward to the market. What a biopesticide would be is something that's already naturally occurring in nature that we are taking and reusing. So my example would be strawberries. Strawberries use a lot of growth regulators. That is actually a natural hormone that we use that makes strawberries bigger, plumper, more red, because we all eat with our eyes. We like attractive food. And so biopesticides falls into that realm. For instance, we can look at biofungicides to prevent disease, and they will likely be bacillus-based. Bacillus is a fungus, so it's already out there, and we're going to be able to use that in replacement of a synthetic chemistry for in-furrow corn application. So it's something that's already in nature. We're just reusing it in different ways. And I've had a lot of questions about what's a biopesticide. We'll talk about that more, especially as we go towards the growing season. Another example would be those that are biofertilizers too, where you have something that you can apply to the corn plant that helps it take in nitrogen from the air and create its own nitrogen within the plant. Sort of like when you make sourdough. Sourdough draws that yeast out of the air in order to create that fermentation process. Plants are able to do that too, and we're going to start seeing more and more of that, especially with a lot of the more environmentally friendly products that are on the market.
That's great. Interesting. Are we using anything like that right now? Or is this something that's kind of new?
There are products like that on. And I think, earlier we have talked about pheromones and how scientists are figuring out that we can use pheromones in the insect world as an insecticide, where we can mess with their signals to keep them from mating so that they don't overpopulate a field. We've already been doing it. It's just becoming easier to use, cheaper to use, because we've been watching these things develop throughout the last few years, right? The science and technology are just advancing. There are some organic pesticides that are out there that are literally like funguses that are grown in tanks. So not everything is synthetic. There's a lot of differences to it, and that's why when you're raising something in your garden or on a cropland, you're going to read that label very closely to know what it does. That's going to be important.
I see. And then moving from ag back over to weather, I know Dean, you had kind of touched on it a little bit when we opened up, but there's warmer temperatures on the way, and for the most part, not a whole lot of chances for snow. We're just stuck with this foggy conditions, and there's something kind of interesting that's setting up that, why is it foggy? Do you want to explain a little bit on that?
Sure.
Why is it so foggy? What's going on in the atmosphere?
That's a good question. I had somebody ask me that this morning on a conference call.
Yeah, so, and I put an article, and it's kind of a little technology driven of why we're seeing this. That's on WDAYradionow.com. Click on the weather link, but it all boils down to, as you go up in the atmosphere, temperatures, at least in the lower part of the atmosphere, temperatures cool as you increase in height. Well, temperatures are increasing. In fact, 5,000 feet up, it's in the 40s while we're stuck in the 20s. So what that does is cold air is very dense and very heavy. So that warm air aloft traps the cold air, and everything else below that warm layer, it traps it at the surface. So whether that be the moisture and the fog, we've got the pollutants because our air is now considered unhealthy, and you need something to mix that up. You need something to mix that lower layer of the atmosphere up to scour out the fog, and we just haven't had any wind to do that.
Which is weird for here.
Very weird, yeah, very strange.
Did they turn off the windmills?
They did turn, well, that's,
if you guys start this tinfoil hat
I bet you those aren't spinning too fast
guys.
right now.
That's, if our wind turbines were spinning faster, we could scour out this fog, but that being
Why
said
don't they just
aside,
turn them on? That's so rude.
Do you know how many hours I'm going to have to spend debunking all the things you two say? Good grief.
So it's basically a temperature inversion, and that, again, that's temperatures increase in height in the lower layers of the atmosphere. And when I told somebody today, it's in the 40s about 5,000 feet up, they're like, what? No.
Well,
it is.
Keep that temperature inversion in mind, because as we get to summer spray season for herbicides and so forth, that's going to be very important.
It would be, yeah.
So we're going to talk about that a lot during spray season.
Exactly. So that's basically the reason we've been stuck in this same pattern. Now we're going to change the pattern up a little bit as we head into later this week. We'll get that wind coming out of the northwest. We'll scour out that inversion. We'll see sunshine and much improved weather by probably late afternoon tomorrow, if not definitely for Thursday and Friday. So this is pretty uncommon that we get fog day after day after day up here with no wind.
A lot of flights have not been able to land bringing Bison fans back home from Frisco, Texas. That's been a problem.
Yeah, so it will improve, but once we scour out this inversion, if not, just take a hot air balloon up about 6,000 feet, and you could have a short sleeve shirt on.
Sounds chilly. I'm getting my coveralls.
Okay.
I'm not going to do that. Hey, you know what? Today is like take your cow to work day. So for those who are watching on a video stream, I actually have like the red, white, and blue cow promoting Eat Beef. It's quite the day. Dean, I'm sorry you didn't bring your cow. It's probably at home trapped upstairs.
It is. And I'm going, and as I told Bridgette, going down to Nebraska this weekend to look at an Aussie Shepherd. As you know, those Aussie Shepherds, they're herders.
Yes.
So they can take care of the cow. They can herd the chickens in the coop at home. So this is a win-win.
Can you send them to Justin's place to babysit the new baby?
Oh, they love kids.
There we go.
So big shout out to the Ag Swag for putting out these shirts. And again, I want to use them to promote beef. I think that's pretty awesome. And also one other one, and that's to Pro Ag Service out in Mahnomen. They have a meeting coming up later this week. I think it's on Thursday. And they're going to have Jim Weisenmeyer. He is with Pro Farmer, and he's going to do their market updates. And I think that's actually a really great situation that you've got guys like that coming out and talking to our local farm community as often as possible. So if those of you are in the Mahnomen area and you get a chance to attend that, I think you'd be welcome too.
Nice.
It'd be worth your time. Absolutely.
Great. Well, we're going to take a short break here, get our guest on the line with us. That's going to be Allie Anderson, equine massage therapist. So if you'd like to join in on our conversation, please feel free to reach out to us at 701-293-9000. Again, that phone number is 701-293-9000. Stay tuned, because Weather and Ag in Focus will be right back.
As a Walgreens pharmacist, I talk with people all the time about little tips and tricks for filling their Medicare prescriptions, like taking advantage of Walgreens 90-day refills to save them a trip, or using Refill by Scan, which is super easy and right on your phone. And for anybody worried about prescription costs, I say, hey, we got you, with low-cost copays on many medications.
Let's talk about making things easier. Walgreens is here. Fill your way and save at walgreens.com/Medicare. See pharmacists for restrictions and exclusions.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
When you're rolling Charmin Ultra Soft on the potty, let's just roll it back, everybody. Charmin's irresistibly soft and hella nice. The crib is always stocked. It's our party vibe.
Charmin Ultra Soft is irresistibly soft and more absorbent, so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hi, Nancy Kelly here from Labor Masters. I'd like to take time to say thank you to the businesses, the homeowners, and the 1,500 plus employees that worked with us this past year. We know that without you, there would be no us. So thanks to each and every one of you for helping us have another successful year. And remember, if you need seasonal help, give us a call at 701-566-8755 or find us online at labormasters.net. From all of us at Labor Masters, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year.
Do you suffer with stiff, achy, painful joints? Is pain keeping you from enjoying life to the fullest? Stop joint pain today with Xana Nutrition's A-Calm. A-Calm is a powerful topical cream that helps soothe muscles and sore joints while promoting healthy blood flow. This breakthrough formula is fast-acting and long-lasting, so you can face the day pain-free. It's also loaded with ingredients to help moisturize dry, cracked skin. If you're looking for less pain and more life, A-Calm is your answer. The result is a happier, healthier you. This revolutionary product has helped thousands of people feel better and get back to the lives they deserve. This month only, get 30% off your first order by using promo code 30 at xananutrition.com or by calling 866-420-6600. 6700. Again, that's promo code 30 at sananutrition.com or simply call 866-420-6700. Call now or miss out on living the life you deserve.
Welcome to WDAY Weather and Ag in Focus. It's 1:22 p.m. I'm Bridgette Readel, Ag Director, along with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and Justin Storm, a meteorologist extraordinaire, calling in from up north today. Good to have everybody here, and even better that we have a guest. And our guest today is Allie Anderson. Allie has a business called Boss Mare Body Works. Equine massage. So first of all, pop quiz, gentlemen, equine means?
Horse.
Thank you so much.
Horse.
Right. Our internships here are paying off at WDAY to get everybody as agriculturalists up to speed. Allie, please introduce yourself. Where are you calling from? And tell us a little bit more about what you do.
Hey, great to be with y'all today. I see we have very different weather. I'm in Weatherford, Texas. And I'm in short sleeves today. I already went out and rode, and I see a lot of white stuff behind you there, Bridgette. So, yes, I lived in Billings and Montana for 7 years. I just moved down to Texas last year, so I know all about the white stuff. Can't say that I missed that part of it, but I do miss the Northwest. Great group of people there. So, yes, I have a business called Boss Mare Body Works. I do equine massage and therapies. Mostly I travel from barn to barn or from horse event to horse event and set up and help equine athletes to perform and feel better.
So is there a big, I don't know if I want to use the word need, but is this something newer for the massages for the equine?
I would say it's definitely taken off more in the last decade. We're a little behind our European counterparts. They regularly do animal massage and osteopath with their animals, especially horses, but it's definitely taken off more and more here in the U.S. People are spending a lot of money on horses. If you've looked at the horse market, you know that it has really been up the last couple of years. And so people want to take care of their horses. They want to get longevity out of these equine athletes. And they want to make sure that they're taking care of their partner, competition partner or trail riding partner. So I think it's definitely had an uptick in the last decade, but it has been around for over 30 years.
And Allie, what benefits does this have for the horse?
It has a lot of benefits, just like with people. A lot of times we think, relaxation, but that really isn't the number one benefit. We want to increase blood flow. We want to increase lymphatic flow. So get rid of toxin buildup in the body. We want to improve muscle tone, help with scar tissue, break down scar tissue, increase flexibility. And overall, this helps with injury prevention and also coming out of injury. So a lot of the work I do is either with horses that are recovering from competition or coming out of rehab situation where they have been injured and are trying to get leg back up to be able to compete and ride again.
And Ellie, I'm hogging all the questions
No,
here.
you go
Sorry.
ahead. I am making a whole list here, Dean. You keep going.
Okay, so do you deal with thoroughbreds with the Kentucky Derby? Because I would imagine with the amount of money that's on the line in the Derby that those horses are probably so pampered, and I would imagine they could use your services as well. Is that a big thing in the thoroughbred industry for the Derby runners?
Pretty much all of the elite athletes are utilizing some sort of body work in their program. We see it a lot with the Olympic level horses. The race horses, that community likes to keep their secrets pretty close to them on what they're doing
Sure.
to gain the edge. But many of them are using chiropractors, equine massage therapists, or some of the technologies that go along with that, just because you've got to get those horses recovering quickly and back to training for the next event. But definitely with the Olympic horses, we see they'll have a whole entourage of people following them around and helping them prepare.
Wow.
I need an entourage.
And how often is this need to be done with the horses? Is this just like a weekly thing, every other week, as needed, or just kind of if you got a big event coming up, well, let's just get the horse nice and limber?
Kind of all of the above. Usually when I get a new client, I work on the horse a couple times, like 2 or 3 times that first week. And then depending on what their issues are, we go to either twice a month or once a month as a maintenance program. And then if they're headed off to a big competition, we'll usually check on them right before and work on them right after. So kind of just depends on what their schedule is and if they're dealing with an injury. And also age. The older horses take a little more maintenance, just like all of us, than the younger horses. So we keep that in mind as well.
I just keep pointing at Dean. So, okay, you keep saying equine athletes. You're really talking about the horse, not like a jockey or the rider. And when you say that, they're going to competition. Which competitions? Are we talking barrel racing, pole bending, rodeo stock, or as Dean mentioned, the elite horses that are all the way running up to get into the Kentucky Derby and other horse races?
Pretty much from all levels. Definitely the higher the level, the more intense the competition, the more we see a team approach on these athletes with their veterinarians, with their nutritionist, with their massage therapist. You really get a whole team trying to keep these horses going. But I do small shows as well and I've worked on 4-H horses. I've worked on trail riding horses. So it's available for all levels. I just think it gets a little more prevalent as you go up the levels. Like I said, a lot of the Olympic horses, they carry their own massage therapists with them quite often.
I'm going to bet those Budweiser Clydesdales have quite the set of folks
I would
with
think
them.
so. Okay, I've got this might be a silly question, but it's
well, I can't wait now.
It's running through my head. I'm
okay.
like, how does this work? So when I go to the chiropractor, I'm laying down on the table, crack here, crack there. You're not obviously going to get the horse to lay down. How do you? First off, how long does it take for like a full session? And how do you get on top? Do you, like you're riding the horse and then massage each different area, or how does it work?
So it takes about an hour for a session. That can go up and down depending on if it's a first session or, if we're coming back and doing some follow-up work. But usually I'm either on the ground kind of working on the lateral side. And if I need to work on more of the top line, I'll get on a stool. I have a large stool that I carry with me, and I'll get on it. That way I can get above them and put some pressure down on them, really get into those back muscles, those gluteal muscles. And they're pretty good about it. By the time I'm to their back, they're relaxed, most of them, and enjoying it. And they're pretty good about staying still for you.
Okay, we've got cows with water beds. We've got horses that get massages. If there's an afterlife, I'm coming back as a cow or a horse. I mean, they are so spoiled.
Pick
I
your
love
bingo
it.
cards now, people. Pick them now. Okay, we have so many more questions to ask. I mean, I got a whole list, and we've barely let Justin talk. So we're going to be back with Ellie Anderson. We're hitting bottom of the hour here, but Ellie, we're going to come back. We have lots of questions for those who want to call in and ask Ellie questions. You can at 701-293-9000. Meanwhile, stay with us and hear the rest of our conversation with Ellie Anderson, equine massage therapist.
This is Tyler with Tyler's Tree Service. We put people first. This mindset has nourished our roots and given us the strength to grow and flourish. Our greatest asset is our people. Our greatest opportunity is our customer. And our greatest commodity is our time. As we branch out, our focus will be 60 miles south and west of Fargo and everything in between. Details at tylerscut.com. We have done and will continue to do our best in bringing our best to the FM area. Tyler's Tree Service. No stick left behind.
What do you call a place that feels like home every time you walk in? A place with plenty of TVs to watch a Saturday or Sunday game and still be able to carry on a conversation. It's known for delicious lunch specials, soups, and appetizers made from scratch every day. We call it Midtown Tavern, where they don't skimp on food or drinks anytime. Head to Midtown and enjoy Wednesday wine night, live music nights, and Dwayne's Pizza any day of the week. That's Midtown Tavern, Highway 10 East in Moorhead. See Facebook for specials, watch parties, and live music.
Hey, some big news. The 2024 election could be America's last one. That's the shocking conclusion of best-selling author David Horowitz. In his new book, The Final Battle, David Horowitz reveals a secret war underway in America. Democrats' woke culture and a new generation are destroying our culture and ending our freedoms. Horowitz says their plan is taking place in our schools, our churches, even in our military. This week, you need to watch David Horowitz on the Chris Salcedo Show as he reveals the real threat of Biden, Obama, big media, and more. Horowitz names names. So tune in today to Newsmax, the network I watch, and see Chris Salcedo and David Horowitz. And make sure you get a copy of The Final Battle. Newsmax calls it the best book of 2023. In bookstores everywhere, or get the free offer and save $28. Just go online to finalbattle611.com. Finalbattle611.com and get your free copy today. And be sure and watch Newsmax today.
Are you suffering from neuropathy? Do you experience stabbing pain, numbness, tingling, or burning in your feet? Are you tired of sleepless nights and avoiding life due to pain? If you've been diagnosed with neuropathy or are experiencing pain or numbness in your feet, pick up the phone and call us right now before it's too late at 701-929-7545. Again, that's 701-929-7545. Neuropathy is a very serious and progressive disease where your nerves start to break down. Eventually, it leads to balance problems, falls, complete loss of independence, and it can lead to amputation. Our program addresses the underlying causes and doesn't simply mask your symptoms with medication. In fact, many patients start experiencing relief from neuropathy symptoms within weeks. There's no surgery and no use of prescription drugs. Pick up the phone right now and call 701-929-7545. Call us today at Dakota Clinic of Chiropractic at 701-929-7545 today.
Attention business owners, did you know that burglary and theft in Fargo is nearly 2 times higher than the national average? Walmart recently said that if theft doesn't slow down, they'll have to raise prices and shut down stores. Target projects they'll lose $600 million in net profits this year due to theft. As a business owner, you need to protect your business and your profits. You need a security solution. And right now, for a limited time only, 702 Communications is offering business security solutions that will protect you, your business, your employees, and your profits. To find out if you qualify for a 702 Communications business security solution, call right now at 218-304-8676. Again, that's 218-304-8676. Imagine the peace of mind you'll have knowing that your security solution is monitoring your business 24/7, 365. That peace of mind is priceless. So call now at 218-304-8676. Again, 218-304-8676.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. Thanks for rejoining us this afternoon. I'm Meteorologist Justin Storm with Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki and Ag Director Bridgette Readel, and our guest today, Allie Anderson. She's an equine therapist. And, you know, we've been having so many great questions, and I want to give the opportunity to those listening. If you want to ask a question, if this is something new, maybe this is something that you do, or you want to get more information about it, give us a call, 701-293-9000. Ask those questions, your opportunity to do so. And in the meantime, while we wait for that, you know, I wanted to know, Allie, when you start doing this for a horse, especially maybe one that hasn't had, you know, massage therapy done before, how long does it take before you start seeing results in that animal? I'm sure maybe it depends on what exactly it is you're doing, if it's a serious injury or just a leg cramp, but when do you usually start seeing results?
You will see some results after the first session. Definitely some loosening of the muscles, some increase in blood flow and lymphatic flow. But I would say to really get those deep down results, it takes about 4 sessions. That way we've had a chance to really zero in on where they are having issues, what trigger points they have, just kind of what we can work on. And usually I leave some flexibility exercises and different things for the owners to do as homework in between sessions. And that helps a lot too. So about the 4th session, we see much bigger results.
I see. And how about, you know, the horses that you do this therapy on? Are you seeing it more in horses that have acquired an injury, or is it just kind of horses just getting it to have it done?
I would say it's about 50% of my horses that I work on are athletes, and it's more for recovery and injury prevention. about 25% of them are coming out of an injury, so they're going through a rehab program. And about 25% of them are just the owners enjoy having it done for their horses. They want to pamper them a little bit. They're their companion, and so they'll get that done as well. So it's kind of, a breakdown of various reasons they get it done.
Ellie, do you see a benefit to older horses more than younger horses? Because especially those that are like retired race horses. We did have that question come into our inbox. Wanted to put that out there.
I definitely see, I wouldn't say a higher benefit, but because it just depends on what the young horse is doing. But as horses get older, just like people, they start to lose some of their flexibility. They've had some old injuries. They've got some scar tissue. And when you let these things go, they can create bigger issues. And that's why, especially when they start getting around that 15-year-old mark, that's when we kind of start seeing things come along. It's nice to go ahead and get them on a program, have them worked up by their veterinarian. That veterinarian can communicate with their therapist and kind of get a program set together. That way you can have long use out of these horses. Horses actually do better staying in use as they age. Just like anyone else, if they get to where they're not exercising as much, we start seeing more health issues. So as long as we can keep them feeling comfortable and able to do some work through these therapies, then that prolongs their, I think, quality of living.
I see. And I want to go back to, you were kind of breaking it down. You have 50% of the horses are kind of like recurring, 25 are doing it just to keep doing it, and that 25% you said are recovering from an injury. What kind of injuries do you see that where they recommend you go, hey, maybe you should try massage therapy, this might work well, or it has worked well with other horses? What kind of injuries do you see that you're performing this therapy on?
So we see a lot of soft tissue injuries that horses are coming out of. A lot of times these horses have had to be on limited exercise protocols for several months. So not only do they have the soft tissue injuries, so like a tendon or ligament, which we can help with a little bit, but it's more about the rest of the body since they have not been exercising. They're not getting as much of that blood flow. They've lost some muscle tone. You can sometimes see some secondary issues out of that lack of activity. So we can kind of help bring the horse back into work and hopefully prevent it from getting a secondary injury to what's already been going on. So we see a lot of soft tissue injuries. We see, some muscle tears in horses. They have to heal fully, but then we can help with some of the scar tissue issues after that. So a variety of different things.
And I've got a couple questions, Allie. So, like when I go to the chiropractor, if they hit the wrong spot, I've kicked the chiropractor before. So have you?
Apparently, Dean levitates off the table.
Yeah. Have you ever had any kickback, if you will, no pun intended, from the horses when you're giving them therapy?
You get pretty quick at reading the signs. I do a body scan where I just kind of go across the body before I really start working deeply on it. For that reason, just to make sure there's not any big trigger spots, there's no ticklish spots, to get a little bit of an idea of the personality of the horse. I've been bit more than I've been kicked, just because sometimes kind of got my back to them when I'm working on their back, and they'll nip you a little bit. I did have one the other day that this was my fault, but I reached down to touch her back leg, and she picked it up, and I went to react just to get away from her, and ended up, it was like, my lack of flexibility. I ended up rolling across the stall. I think I scared her more than it scared me. But
and do you include dry needle therapy on any of your sessions with the horses?
So there's a lot of legality to what a massage therapist can and cannot do. So there are acupuncturists for the equine world, but to be an acupuncturist by law, you're supposed to be a veterinarian in most states.
Gotcha.
I'm not a veterinarian, so I don't do any needling. I do have some other things I use. I use a pulse electromagnetic field machine. I use a cold laser. I use a variety of tools to help get deeper into the muscle, but I do not do any needling, just legally that's just not allowed unless you are a veterinarian and have also gone to school for acupuncture.
So that brings up some questions, Allie, and you and I have known each other for a number of years. I know you don't have a veterinarian, pardon me, but when you went into equine massage therapy, was that a certification? Is this what exactly what did you do as far as background education, et cetera? And then I would venture a guess you had to do some sort of hands-on tutorials, you might say.
Yes, I did my certification through Holistic Animal Studies out of Florida. You have to do ultimately about 100 hours after you get done with the coursework, just to ensure that you're prepared to go out and work on these horses. I also do some continuing education every year, and so I usually pick one advanced course to add on to that each year just to keep learning. I do have a background. I've worked in the veterinary world as a technician for over 10 years, and I do have an animal science degree, so that all helped as well, just learning the anatomy and having some background with the horses as well. But certification is where you start. You do have to carry insurance, just like any other practitioner of any kind out there. So there are a couple things to figure out before you dive into this as a profession. But overall, there's some great programs out there.
I see. And do you get any referrals from veterinarians, or are these people that are coming to you, are they finding you online? Their friend told them about you, or like I mentioned, are you seeing any referrals from veterinarians? They're like, hey, maybe you should go try this, talk to this person.
Or prescriptions, maybe a vet prescribing that
too.
work.
We do work closely with our veterinarians. A lot of times they will tell them to find a massage therapist. And sometimes they'll give suggestions, sometimes they let the owners find it. If I've been reached out to and it's been a vet involved in the situation, I try to call that veterinarian and see what they've seen, what diagnostics they've done, any concerns they may have. I work very closely with a veterinarian just to ensure that it's a team approach and that we're giving this horse the best care that they can get. If there's not a veterinarian involved, so maybe it's not a rehab injury situation, a lot of times I've met people at events, and I'll have a booth set up there and talk with people and be working on other horses. And then I do occasionally have people who I meet through the website, my website, or my social media. I do a lot of education on my Facebook page, a lot of articles and different things. So a lot of people just, even if they're not in my area, will log on to that. And everyone loves to learn. That's one great thing about horse people. We're lifelong learners.
And how about, are there any preventative things that people can do to, help out with their horse or when they're taking care of it? Or maybe some of the things that the little exercises that you tell people to do in between to kind of help stimulate that area or help with the recovery, or maybe they don't need to continue down this path because they get such improvement from it?
Definitely. I always have them go and do some kind of check-in with their veterinarian just to make sure there's nothing we're missing. Then I like to give stretches and exercises for them in between my sessions. I also encourage a lot of them to use a roller. I don't usually use a foam roller on horses, but I have like a metal handheld, it's like a metal ball that I'll use on horses, and I'll tell them to do, put that on them after they've worked them hard. And also just make sure they're on a good nutrition plan and there's no mineral or vitamin deficiencies that can impact overall horse health. So really bringing the whole team in, the veterinarian, the nutritionist, the farrier, your massage therapist, the chiropractor. If we get everybody in, a lot of times I can get it down to where I'm only seeing these horses maybe once a quarter, 4 times a year. Kind of just depends.
When I go in for a massage, I'm told to drink lots of water to, kind of flush that through your body system, right? You want to have a lot of water. Do you see an uptake in water consumption in horses after you've done your treatments with them?
A lot of times when I turn them loose in the stall, they'll go take a big long drink. And I always encourage the owners to make sure they get offered water. Like if we're at a show and they've brought them over to my booth, I say take them back, make sure they get a good drink, because that is really important, flushing out those toxins. And especially some of these horses are a bit dehydrated from showing already. So that is really important to make sure that they're getting a good long drink.
Allie, I cannot thank you enough for joining us today and answering all of our questions. This has been a ton of fun. For folks who are listening, or maybe they're going to go back to our website, WDAY Radio, and look under show archives, and maybe they missed part of your interview today and they want to go back and listen, how would they find you as well out on social media, et cetera? You mentioned Facebook, but what else you got?
Yes, I have Facebook. It's a group right now. It's not a page, Boss Mare Body Works. I also have an Instagram page that's Boss Mare Body Works as well. And then you can Google my website, that's Boss Mare Body Works. So pretty easy to find out there. I'm really quick to answer on Messenger and on the website. So would love to hear if anyone has any questions or wants to discuss a particular horse or issue that they're having.
That is fantastic. Thank you again to Allie Anderson. She is Boss Mare Body Works. She is an equine massage therapist who's joined us today. We are going to go catch up with the American Ag Network markets update, etc., and then we will be back with Weather and Ag in Focus here on WDAY.
With us today, again from Peterson Farm Seed, is agronomy lead Rick Swenson. Thanks for being here today, Rick.
What's new in North Dakota right now for PFS?
We've got our new conventional soybean program. With Hannah's and Marulas, they're a unique market opportunity with timely on-farm pickup.
What makes them unique to the area?
At Peterson Farm Seed, we bring the market to you. Between on-farm pickup, a $3 premium, and yields that are keeping up with our best commercial varieties, it's a win-win-win.
So what are some of the details behind these two specialty varieties?
Excellent agronomics that stand tall and pod from top to bottom. Not to mention the 4 bean pods. I've got pictures to prove it. From what I'm hearing, everyone that's grown them is asking to grow them again. Our goal at Peterson Farm Seed is to make it as simple and profitable for your farm as possible and deal with real people that you can talk to at any time.
So Rick, how can growers learn more?
Find us online at petersonfarmseed.com.
Thank you so much, Rick.
One of the longest rivalries in Red River Valley boys basketball meet tonight when the Fargo South Bruins invade Moorhead. The outcome is always in doubt until the final buzzer. The Spuds and the Bruins run the floor. The battle underneath is fierce. Boys basketball, Moorhead and Fargo South, 7:30 tonight on 970 WDAY 93.1 FM.
The Jay Thomas Show.
How's it going today?
Good. How you doing?
Not too bad.
Good.
Hey, I got an old buddy of mine named Tim Gast. He's probably about a late 50s, early 60s vintage. He doesn't work very hard or very long, but he does still work.
Uh-oh. We got a situation.
I'll leave that at that. So, thanks, Jay.
The Jay Thomas Show, weekday afternoons at 2 here on WDAY.
Grains and livestock were mixed. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Risvet with this closing market. Row crops were mixed with light boll spreading evident in corn, a sign of commercial buying interest, possibly related to dry forecast in Argentina. Wheat led the way lower early today and continued that momentum on a stronger dollar and follow-through weakness in the European markets overnight. European traders seem to be shocked by yesterday's release of industry pre-report estimates showing a 1.2 million acre increase in winter wheat seedings this fall. Now, maybe what they didn't realize is that there is a big difference between seeded acres amid high insurance guarantees in dry dirt in the plains and actual harvested acres later in the year. Corn and soybean prices erased some early losses to post double-digit gains as bargain hunters came in to build ownership ahead of Thursday's WASDE report, which then supported a rebound in wheat prices as well. However, wheat stayed negative on the day. Corn and soybeans did pare back some of those gains seen as well. Exporters shipped 40.9 million bushels of U.S. soybeans to China in the week ending January 5th. Shipments are trending lower as the availability of new crop Brazilian supplies nears. China has already switched its purchases to new crop Brazilian supplies, which will gradually become the dominant source of shipments as those supplies increase at Brazilian ports in the weeks ahead. U.S. domestic soybean demand does remain solid, though, but export demand is seasonally declining. Let's get a look at the closing commodity numbers. March corn up 2 1/4 at $6.55. January beans up 6 1/2 at $15.10. Bean meal January up 420 ton at 590 cents. Bean oil January down 78 points at 63.13. Wheat Chicago March down 10.5 at 731. Kansas City March down 16 3/4 at 811 3/4. And the March Minneapolis wheat is down 8 3/4 at 893 1/4. Live cattle February unchanged at 157.75. Feeders January up 67 at 184.30. And the February lean hogs, they are down a buck at 79.80. For the American Ag Network, I'm Richard Ristvet.
And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with Meteorologist Justin Storm. He's having a little bit of audio trouble there. And we've got our wonderful, talented Ag Director, Bridgette Readel.
Who's booking Thursday's show guest, so keep talking.
Yeah, we'll take care of it here. So let's take a quick look at the nation as a whole. And I'm sure you've seen 90% of California is under some... You know, if I would have told you this 3 months ago, you would have been, yeah, right, whatever. 90% of California is under some type of flood watch or flood warning. You know, they need the rain. They need it. They need it bad, but they don't need it all at once. Now, that, you know, this is more typical of an El Nino pattern, but what's happening is we're still in La Nina, but a lot of these storms are undercutting. We're getting that southern branch of the jet stream to really, it's quite active, and it's just pulling moisture in off the Pacific, one storm after the other. Now, that will change here over the next week or so. They still have a couple more storms to deal with, but eventually they're going to continue. They'll gradually go north into areas of Washington and Oregon. So California will get a break in about a week here, but boy, it's great news on the snowpack. It really is. This is going to benefit the West quite a bit come springtime. Great news there. Bad news is we don't have a big buckle in the jet stream. So with that being said, these storm systems roll right across the Rockies, and they take the southern track. So we need that jet stream to buckle a little bit to bring some of these storms up further north to get some more moisture into the central and northern plains. We could still use it. I mean, yeah, December was one of the snowiest Decembers we've had on record. But you know, we don't want to follow that up with a record dry January, and that's kind of where we're heading. I know it's only the 10th of the month, but even going out another 10 days, I don't see much at all in the way of appreciable precip. So that puts us 2/3 through the month, and we really haven't had much. So that's again, we don't want to follow it up with a record dry January. And again, this is all part of the LRC cycle. These storms are there. They're you know, we'll watch that one at the end of the month. If the trends continue, that one may go to the south as well. But you know, we'll see. We'll get our moisture back up here. This the snowy December we had, maybe that'll lead to a snowy March or a snowy April.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Things can change so rapidly, and I know I ask you constantly because I get this message too. Well, 90 days from now it's going to be rain. That could be early April. We don't know what that form of precipitation could look like. If that in fact is how everything sets up, let's not start panicking that we're going to get laid into the field or anything like that. It is way too soon to tell what that's going to be like.
And as we were talking yesterday, the good news is the frost point, it's pretty shallow. So when this does melt, I mean, the snow is acting as an insulator. So that's good because when this does melt, we'll see less runoff.
We'll see. It'll run off to fill stock dams and so forth, but it would be really awesome to see more of that. You know, go deeper, and we know we're dry in our subsoil strata, so it'd be great to have that replenished. Be excellent.
Yeah, and Janae had asked me from the Coffee Club, a show that's on here WDAY earlier in the morning. She'd asked me a couple weeks ago. In fact, it might have been a month or so ago, but she's like, you know, coming off the dry fall, how much snow do we need to catch up on everything? I'm like, well, that's kind of a trick question because it's not how much snow we get, it's how much of it melts and goes into the soil versus running off and then going into the rivers.
Okay.
So,
but I'm also going to say, explain to me what you mean by catch up, because how far down do you want moisture to go? How wet do you want it to be on top? Do you want it wet right off the bat? Do you want more moisture later? I mean, there's a whole lot that plays into that, especially in conjunction with what will happen with the crop, in my opinion. And it's just me and my opinion.
And when it comes to planting, I can't imagine, you know, obviously you don't want too much water in the topsoil because, you know, it gets too muddy. but I feel like the surface moisture is going to be more important at that stage than how deep the moisture actually goes down. Would I be correct on that? Because there's no real root system established at that point, right?
Well, let's walk through that. One of the most important ingredients that you need to establish your seed germination would be moisture. So you want moisture. You don't need it sopping wet or in mud, because like you said, then you completely throw off the whole planting situation, and it's tough on equipment. You want it to have some moisture. It's not a bad thing if your root system has to seek out moisture and move further down and deeper, because that gives you a stronger foothold for your root system, especially when you think about like corn that's going to stand up 10 feet tall. So it's not all bad to have that. You want to you can be drier underground if you continue to get timely rainfall. Above ground, that can have uptake not only through the root system, but the leaf structure, et cetera. So a couple of different things that can happen there.
Right. And why don't we switch to something kind of similar? We're still on the ag topic, but what's going on with this hybrid wheat that could help with global food supplies? Is this like a wheat that grows like 15 feet tall, or?
Well, probably not. In the world of corn, we've been raising hybrid corn since the 1930s. And what hybridization simply means is that we went ahead and we took what's most important as far as a trait in that crop, and we have made sure to fine-tune it in a better way. So when it comes to wheat, it's taken longer to get this to market because it's been more expensive and complicated to do it. But we're seeing research that shows us we can do some hybridization because we can provide tolerance. Again, this is a naturally occurring tolerance to something like Fusarium head blight here in the northern plains that truly affects us. These plants can have more resistance and tolerance to Fusarium head blight, equals better yield, better standability, all those types of things, less disease, and that also a better yield adds to a better profitability for the farm as well as our food supply. So hybridization, and especially drought tolerance globally, could certainly help with the overall food supply because you worry less about not having enough moisture to raise that wheat crop. And wheat is one of the primary crops around the world that helps feed people.
And with more and more drought coming about, that would be huge.
And we see all that cycle, right? Because how long have we really had weather records? I'm sure there's a whole lot of global cycles that we don't even know.
Late 1800s.
Yeah, so there's a lot that could happen we don't know about yet.
Right. All right. And Bridgette, I'm going to shoot you into the lightning round here with about 30 seconds. This is a topic I like to go back to all the time.
Okay.
Have you heard any updates out of Ukraine with the food or the grains over there?
Okay, so we know that harvest had progressed as best possible. We know that there was more that was being shipped out. I did see an article just yesterday that talked about the improvement in the speed of shipping out to ports. I don't have a lot of the details in that off the top of my head, but I can pull those for you and have them at a later time.
All right, maybe we can chat about that tomorrow a little bit. I was just wondering if it's still going well, if the agreement fell through. But it seems like things are still ticking.
Hey, by the way, I just got a message from our guest, Allie, who was on just a few minutes ago, and she said, since we've been talking about cows, massage is starting to take off in show cows and bucking bulls. You want to be the guy to massage the bucking bull?
No.
I'm going to pass.
You don't have to ride him.
No.
And if you do, it's only an 8-second deal.
Yeah, and it won't even last that
And there
long.
we go, too, Dean. We can get Bessie a massage.
There you
go. In your upstairs room. Well, that'll do it for us here on Weather and Ag in Focus today. Join us tomorrow, 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The Jay Thomas Show is next.
970 WDAY AM.